Greetings, pro wrestling fans, and thank you for joining us at the Pro Wrestling LookBack Podcast. I'm Nick, and I'm sitting here with
Cecil O'Neill, but the thrill is dead, and now it's the Maestro of Malice.
Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that, Will.
Bit of a heel turn.
It's good to have you back, Will.
And Honda Tech Phil.
Honda Tech Phil back again.
Chiming in again.
Every other episode almost like this for a little while. It's nice to have you guys back, the Will and Thrill connection.
Phil and Thrill.
Yeah, what? Will and Thrill?
Phil and Thrill.
Well, yeah.
Phil.
The Thrill and Will and Phil. I don't know. Thank you for joining us at the Pro Wrestling LookBack Podcast, guys. This is the Roundtable episode 61. I myself, Nick, am sitting in with Will and Phil, like we said. Don't forget, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack. Instagram, Twitter, follow, like, share, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you want to send us any questions, topics, ideas for the show, you can send it prowrestlinglookback@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM, like I said before. That works too. iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, and Google Play, like I said last week. Hit them all up. Hit the 5 stars. Leave a comment. We'd appreciate it. Leave a good one. That would be better. If not, maybe don't leave one at all. I don't know. If you want to get in contact with me on Twitter, it's at Salsa, SCELSA.
At Lateral G, LATERELG.
And on Twitter, Honda Tech Phil.
There you go. We got it all.
Got the Twitter down now.
Do you also tech Acuras?
Yes.
Of course.
Acura is a Honda.
Yeah, I know that's...
Okay.
Because there are some people that aren't quite educated on that.
Save it for the F1 update, boys. And if you guys don't already, go hit up our sponsors at Pure Oxide Premium CBD Oils. It's at Pure Oxide CBD on Instagram. The owner is at Justin.Brothers on Instagram. And I've talked about it every week for a few months now, guys. Awesome product. 2,500 milligram bottles, 5,000 milligram bottle, 3,000 milligram cream. This stuff has no GMOs, no THC, and it's been lab tested. They ship worldwide from pureoxide.com. And like I said, you can get in contact with them at Pure Oxide CBD on Instagram or at Justin.Brothers on Instagram. Stuff works amazing. But with all that stuff out of the way, the thrills, the fills, the wills, how are you guys?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah?
Long day. Could be better.
I hear you. I'm happy that we're here. I enjoy doing this. I've had a rough couple days outside of doing the podcast stuff and work, but I got to be honest, I'm very happy to be behind the microphones because this is something that I look forward to doing every week. Before we get into everything tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the PWI 500. I want to get some of Will's thoughts on that. A little bit of kind of the NXT takeover happening, no pun intended, I guess, on SmackDown. Small letter T, I guess, not capital T takeover.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to a little bit of Will about some AEW because I haven't been keeping up as much as I did the first few weeks. And then, as usual, we'll get into an extended F1 update with these two here. That's we'll talk about the United States Grand Prix at the end, but that'll be later. Until we get all of that, I want to let Will, I always give him this opportunity to give him a second or two to plug your ARC.
Well, for those of you that don't know, ARC, the adrenaline racing community, the sim racing community, I'd like to do commentary for over on YouTube. We pretty much stream races almost every Sunday around 3 p.m. here at Eastern Standard Time. Just a sim racing community in Gran Turismo Sport. All the guys in there are fantastic drivers, and we try to condone ourselves to the best that we can. We're heading towards the end of our 3rd season of our GT3 Championship. All the races have been very good so far, so thank you for that. It's going to be quite interesting, and we've got some big plans coming up. We have a 3-hour endurance race also coming up on the 23rd that I will be participating in.
No way. Does that mean that you need your drive hub back?
No, I actually went out and bought a G29 the other day.
Okay.
You're on my level now.
I was coming home from work, and I'm like, yeah, I think we were talking, and they were like, yeah, I think we're going to have a 3-hour endurance race on Spa because Spa was just released.
Yeah.
For
the game.
Yeah, in the game.
Oh,
so
sweet.
So it was that day, I'm like, oh, a 3-hour endurance race. I might as well get a G29. It was within the hour. I'm out of work. 3-hour endurance race. An hour later, I have a G29.
Oh, I don't know if anybody who, is unfamiliar with the sim racing community, but I'm going to give them one more of these for the G29. Awesome sim racing wheel. And we'll have to get your updates on that and how you did.
We're getting there. My body's a little bit sore. I've been in the past 3 days, I've been putting a lot of practice in. My body's already a little sore.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's just the time that you spend on the sim, especially for that length of time. Spa's not an easy track either. Right?
And I do have to admit now, because you now have the drive hub, you can keep it. I don't need it now.
Wow.
There you go.
Hey, this is a first, but I'm doing it.
Three in a row.
3 applauses to start the show. Thanks, Will. You're the man. We'll talk more about that later, but. One other thing I want to get into before we dive into the wrestling in the F1 as per usual. Did anybody see that Star Wars trailer that dropped?
What? Another one?
Well, the one that we talked about. The one me and you have seen.
Oh,
I know
okay,
you've
okay,
seen
okay.
it, but
No.
not a fan.
It's not that I'm not a fan. I don't keep up with stuff like that.
Oh, I can respect that though. Are you going to go see the movie?
Probably not.
Okay.
I just don't go to the movies anymore.
I don't
Fair
know
enough.
if I can respect that though.
No, that's a different. I just meant I could respect it if like you were excited for the movie, but you had the willpower to not watch the trailer because that.
Yeah, I'm not that good.
No.
I'm not that important person to be like, I want to go in blind. No, I'm not that kind of person.
I wish I could do that. I just don't have the willpower to walk into a movie of that magnitude without seeing anything ahead of time. But I don't know. We don't have to talk about it long. I just honestly, Will, I thought you were more of a fan. That's kind of why I wanted to bring it up. But if not, we can move on unless you want to have any other thoughts about it there, Will. Or Phil. Jeez, yeah, I knew this was going to happen again.
I'm the exact opposite, actually. I'll look for stuff to kind of get me into a picture to understand what could be potentially happening and kind of make me think differently, too.
The last time I ever went to a theater to watch a movie was when Deadpool 2 came out.
Well, that's not too long. That was a couple years ago at this point. 2 years ago, probably.
Something like that. But yeah, that was the last time I've actually been to a theater to actually watch a movie. And before that, it was Deadpool 1.
I was going to say, did you go see Deadpool 1 in theaters too,
Yeah.
probably? Not that I want to get on a Deadpool topic, but why, what about that specific movie made you go to the theater?
I just love the character so much.
Like you read the comics and stuff growing up?
I never read the comics, but I know a lot about the character from other media because it's Deadpool, he crosses over a lot.
Of course, yeah.
So from other media, like when he's crossing over Spider-Man or whatever, I love the sarcastic, breaking the third wall nature of the character.
I read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Oh, yeah.
I read that one, and that one's crazy. Like, he legit did the whole book. I should give it to you. I have it somewhere. I think I have a graphic novel of it. And he literally goes through killing everyone. Spider-Man, Iron Man, everybody. It's insane.
There's also another comic where he actually takes the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos.
Oh, wow.
And
that's pretty cool.
That's a funny one. I want to go into
Separate,
story
yeah,
this isn't a comic show, but if you would want to know about that, there's a YouTube channel, Comics Explained. He tells all these he takes all these comic stories and puts it into video form. So basically, you're reading the comic, but on YouTube. It's fantastic.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna get you to write that down for me later because I might actually check that out. But yeah, back to the Pro Wrestling LookBack part of the show here. We've had some things go down since the last time you were here, Will, and I know you're a big proponent, I guess, or person. You like the Fiend quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you were telling me that you wanted him to be champion last time you were here.
Right,
you said just make him champ. And we were kind of, going back and forth. Well,
he's the champ.
He's the champ. So
the champ is here.
The champ is here, buddy. All mask and all. He was crowned champion on Halloween. As of, because the last week we had the Halloween special. We hope everybody enjoyed that. But
do you think they did that on purpose? They had him lose at Hell in a Cell just so they could put him on Halloween?
I hope that I hope nothing was done on purpose that would happen at Hell in a Cell. That came out wrong. Okay. But do you know what I mean?
I know what you
mean.
I
hope whatever happened at Hell in a Cell was not done on purpose to get to somewhere else. Because at Hell in a Cell was a debacle in every form of the way that it went down. I mean, Phil, you can speak a little bit on that. I know you saw some of the highlights with the Hell in a Cell and the red lighting and then the toolbox and Seth covering him in all the different tools and then the ref stoppage and then we get the match in Saudi Arabia where it says in the bottom, no ref stoppages. The match will not stop for any reason. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of we don't have you on every week, but I know you were, like I said, a big proponent of the Fiend and you wanted to, just get the belt on this character. The fans love him. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy or what's...
I'm happy. Because now it frees up Seth Rollins to do something else. Because for a while, it felt like the fan base was starting to attack Seth Rollins just because I don't know what it was, whether it was kind of like when Cena was winning every match and held the belt for a year and everyone started to turn against him because Cena wins, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that kind of sentiment or just how Seth was carrying himself as the championship and on social media that people started to turn against him. But now I guess this kind of frees it up and a chance to maybe turn it around. Maybe, I don't know, necessarily a heel turn because...
I don't necessarily... Well, we got the whole kind of tease with Triple H and NXT and everything this week, but I just think the fans were... It's not even that they started to dislike Seth. I mean, obviously they did, but I think it was... They were enjoying The Fiend so much so that they wanted him to be champion. They want to see more of him. And they want to know that when they get behind somebody that it matters. So they were, I guess most fans were just expressing their feelings towards, hey, we like The Fiend. It's not that we don't like Seth. It's just, this is the guy right now. So I'm happy that they went for it. Do you think they're going to have a custom championship?
I don't think so.
No?
I think the red belt just fits him perfectly in the aesthetic.
Yeah, I seen like a little thing on YouTube. It was kind of very, you really had to look at it to tell it was custom. It was like the red leather itself kind of let me in, and it had little pictures of the Fiend and stuff. I think that was just fan made, but yeah, you're probably right. The red one does fit pretty well.
It fit Kevin Owens too when he had it. Like everyone laughed at it when they first debuted it.
I like it. I mean, I'm used to it now. I didn't like it that much when they
first debuted it. They took the cover off, and everyone was like, "Boo!" And then everyone's like, "You're really gonna boo a championship?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're kind of right." And then everyone, it looks great on everyone. They gave it to Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Goldberg actually looked pretty good with it.
Lesnar, yeah, I like that they've had some people like Goldberg and Lesnar, like guys lineage, win it. Because eventually you're going to get to the point where there isn't going to be these guys from back in yesteryear.
Mm-hmm.
And at least we have some of them have had title reigns with this new quote-unquote title. You know what I mean? It's like, give me somebody else. Like, not that Rey Mysterio is fighting for that belt now, but somebody like a Rey Mysterio would be cool to see him win that belt just because we know Rey's not going to be around in 5 years. So when we can look back on the lineage of the belt, you see Goldberg's name, you see Rey Mysterio, you see some of these guys that are associated with wrestling in a time that isn't current wrestling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I know. I get what you mean. The veteran holding the championship belt one last time, one last hurrah for them.
And it just looks better on that championship in 10, 12, 15 years if that championship's still around. You know, these people held this belt. It's not just Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and all these people from, you know, post 2013 era. Later probably even, but you know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah. The custom thing it's not that I necessarily want them to do. I was just curious if you thought they might do it because it's kind of an out, I guess. It's an easy, they could definitely do it. Like this is somebody who could come out with a custom belt and you're not going to have people.
I feel like it's been too close to Daniel Bryan's custom belt, I think, for someone to debut their own custom one.
That's true. I mean, it is a different belt technically, but you're not wrong.
And then even then, Daniel Bryan, it made sense in a story-wise and character-wise for him to have that belt.
I'm still waiting to see when I can buy the hemp, wood, and jewel belt. Daniel Bryan, I'm sure
all natural one you said.
Yeah, which I don't know if they sold, but
I don't think they did, but it looked really good.
Oh, it was amazing. I'm sure there was some custom people out there that made them out of wood and shit. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Fiend? Because I know we don't know much about what's going forward with him.
He won it at Crown Jewel, correct?
He did. He won it at
So does that mean that from this point on, because an actual championship changed hands at that event, that event is now canon for all of wrestling? Because when they first went there and they had Braun win the biggest Royal Rumble ever and they gave him the green belt, the next week on Raw he didn't have it anymore, so it felt like it wasn't canon. Everything that didn't happen there didn't really happen. But now that championships changed hands, does it actually matter? Should we be caring that it happens now?
I don't think it has to do with its being canon. I think, well, first of all, the green belt, I think that was because they wanted the fans, and that was the first show they did in Saudi Arabia. They wanted those fans to see somebody getting a belt, get crowned something that isn't just a trophy. So they wanted to have the show end with, let's give Braun this belt and go off the air. After that, we had all the Khashoggi and everything that happened, you know, negative stuff in the media. They kind of just stopped using the word Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't go, I mean, maybe they canon, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that they erased it from their history, more just didn't talk about it. They just didn't really want to bring it up. You know what I mean? It's not like a Chris Benoit scenario where like you go look up stuff that isn't there. Go look up Chris Benoit. It's not there. You know what I mean? I mean, pay-per-views, matches that he, like if you look up a pay-per-view that he was on, it's going to be there, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I don't think, where were we going with this? Help me out here.
Is whether or not Saudi Crown Jewel's canon? And
I think it's canon no matter what. I don't think whether it's canon or not canon. To me, it's canon. It's just whether or not they're going to acknowledge it in the future. I think now that you've had a title change, a significant major title change there, you have to. If you go look up the Universal title on Wikipedia, it's going to tell you that the title changed in Saudi Arabia on October 31st, 2019. That's never going to change. So that, to me, is canon. Does that make the other shows where there wasn't title changes not canon? I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that they don't talk about this Saudi stuff too much outside of the positive things, like we'll get to a little bit with the first women's match, because they know that it just creates negative press and publicity, and they took a massive check at the beginning. I don't think they knew the negative press they were going to get from it, nor did they know the wrestlers that were not going to be okay with it, like the John Cenas and the Kevin Owenses of the world. I don't know. It's a tricky topic.
So then another question onto that would be, in say in 5 years' time, like we know everything that the negative press that comes with them going to Saudi Arabia. If something happens within the next 5 years and they have to cancel that contract, this is a significant, as we mentioned, a title change that happened. Like, I don't think they've ever retconned when someone won a championship.
And that's why I think it's written in stone. I don't think, even if something so bad happened that this Saudi deal stopped today, the day that this episode is released, I don't think we're going on WWE.com and erasing the fact that the Fiend won the belt there.
Okay. I was going to say not the fact that he won the belt, but maybe that he won it on some house show in whateverville.
I mean, let's be honest, I wouldn't put it past WWE to try something like that, but I realistically, no, I don't think, I hope to think that they probably would not do something like that. At least I hope so.
I mean, in thinking on it, there haven't been that many retcons other than character backstories or whatever in wrestling. It's a business that has been around for as long as it has. There hasn't been like
that many things that have been wiped under the table, other than like the Chris Benoit situation.
Other than that, it's just they just don't really bring things up. But they never really go back and be like, okay, that would have made more sense if we had done this in the first place. So they just kind of change it.
Yeah, I think they know they just can't, because there's too many people like us that would just figure it out and point fingers at it and keep, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, but there's people like that for every fandom. You can go back and watch.
Of course, no,
whatever.
Of course. But when you start changing history in sports and entertainment, that's what they like to call it, it's just not a good thing. I don't think. You know what I mean? I think once stuff happens and it's not like, it's not like Star Wars coming out in 1995 with special effects and being touched up and fixed just the way and removed the stuff you didn't want. Like, to me, it's not the same sort of media. You can't edit and change what has been done because it's a live sporting event. As much as it's predetermined, you're still watching a live sporting event. You can't change the past. If I don't know. I can't give you another example, but I don't know. It's a good topic, a good conversation.
What do you think, Phil? Do you think they could go back and retcon something in wrestling if it made more sense in the future, if they really wanted to hide something that they did in the past or not reference it?
If they really wanted to, they probably could. But like Nick said, someone would be pointing fingers. Someone would be calling them out, finding a way. Why was this done or whatnot? But it's a possibility. I do see it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one that I guess we'll have to see what happens in the future, because the only thing we can even remotely relate to something like that would be, again, the Chris Benoit situation and that whole scenario, but not something...
It's going to be on the internet. It'll never go away.
Exactly. It's 2019, almost 2020 now, so nothing dies. Nothing dies.
But what do you personally guys think of The Fiend? Is he just a phase at this time, or is he going to be continuing on, or is he going to kind of die out? Like a candle burning.
It's going to depend on how they write him.
Yep.
Entirely, because he is 100% a character-based character. He's not a work rate character. Like, he doesn't go in the ring and have 5-star classics every time he's in there. He's 100% how they write him and how they use him. Mm-hmm. So it's going to depend entirely. Like, they can try to get 5 years out of that. Well, it'll be hard for them to do it, but they could try. But it's entirely up to them how much time they actually want to put into that character. Because it's 6 months' time if they decide to brush him under the rug, his character's done and he's back to Bray Wyatt or whatever.
Well, it's the building up factor too. You have to, and it's not just wins and losses, but that's a major part of it. You can't have this guy. I know he's the champion now. He's not going to be losing simple small matches anytime soon, but that's a huge aspect of it. You can't have this guy losing matches going into, let's say, Mania or whatever it is, 5 years from now, whatever. He's got to be built up significantly slowly in the right direction upwards if you want to have him be someone like I don't know if I'm going to say it, but like a John Cena someday. Not that type of character could get to a John Cena level, but you have to treat him right. It's really going to come down to, at least with this character, I think, almost more what WWE does than what Bray Wyatt or The Fiend himself.
So if they don't build him up right, do you think the fans will get bored?
Oh, yeah, 100%. If it's just he comes out every night and cuts a promo like every other guy who's held the championship, no one's going to care. It's how they use him with the Firefly Funhouse segments that they have Bray doing and stuff, and the kind of matches they put him in. Like, if it's just whatever, I'm challenging you because I want a number one contenders match or whatever, they're not really going to care. There has to be some kind of actual story or drive there for him to have that match. It feels like,
and he's a tough character to write for and book in wrestling, because I'm trying to think of people now that can maybe come, and be his first challengers, and there isn't that many easy people. Like, I'm thinking Drew McIntyre, but then again, do you really want Drew McIntyre losing that early right away? Probably not. I would like to have Drew McIntyre compete for a fucking championship at some point in the next year. That would be great.
The only way I can think of them doing this, as we mentioned before Hell in a Cell happened, is that this Fiend is going back and kind of like revenging what happened to Bray Wyatt and taking out people that wronged
Bray Wyatt in the
past.
So
instead of people challenging Bray, for most time it's Bray challenging other people.
Well, that I like, and that's, again, like he said, Will mentioned about the writing. That's the way that you can write a character to be different than the other people, whereas he's the champion and he's going after people rather than people coming after him. It's an interesting...
It's not a bad storyline. I get it. I see how they want to go with that route, but do you think that he's going to come out back as Bray Wyatt when it's all said and done, or will he still always be the Fiend?
That's a really good question.
That's going to be tough.
I would say in a perfect world, if they can do everything the way that they would like to have it done, this is him forever.
Okay, yeah. Well, it makes sense because he has all those pictures, right, with the X's on him.
Well, that,
all the,
and I'm
wrestlers.
I'm looking at it from like and I don't want to compare him to the Undertaker, but like, in a perfect world, you'd probably want this to continue. So then in 10 to 15 years, you've got a guy that's, supernatural, quote unquote, like the Undertaker.
Yeah. And
you have one of those characters
even then,
around.
The Undertaker had his biker phase and stuff, right?
Exactly.
The Ministry of Darkness phase and stuff. So,
different versions of the character could come along.
Even it could be like, as we mentioned, a Finn Balor thing where he's Bray Wyatt at some point, but if he needs that mask, he can put it on and he becomes the Fiend.
Like maybe that could be a whole new separate topic too, where he could have a babyface run as Mr. Rogers, like wrestling in the red sweater. And then, he needs to beat this ultimate heel at the pay-per-view, and the Fiend comes out just like the Demon for Finn. Same idea. So, yeah, there's a multiple different ways that they could take Bray Wyatt, the Fiend character. But I think, ideally, in their world, if it goes the way that they would like it to go, then, yeah, they would like this to just keep going forward. It's just a matter of not getting too stale, but then also not fucking completely watering it down either. It's riding that middle
fine line
between the two and having it, we don't want to be watching it, oh, here's the Fiend again and he's got his belt, or it's, where's the Fiend and why, and then people start turning into, Brock Lesnar discussions. It's like, oh, well, he's not on TV and he's the champion. I don't think that would happen very quickly, but you know what I mean? And you have to ride that line.
I think if they ever want him in that Undertaker role, they can't have him be on every Monday Night Raw. It's got to be one of those, he's going to have a match every other or every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess to kind of close off this little bit of Fiend conversation, what do you think they're going to do with the belts? Because we now have Brock Lesnar quitting SmackDown and showing up on Raw, and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, technically in the draft is on SmackDown. He was drafted to SmackDown. He's a SmackDown superstar. He just won the Raw Championship, technically, the Universal title, which represents the top title on Raw. Are they switching? And if they are they bringing the red belt over to the blue show?
I guess.
I have no idea what's going on.
Or where they keep them separate. Like, Finn, or the Fiend is, one side, and then the Bray Wyatt's on the other side.
Well, that's what I don't know, because the biggest, or the question is the red belt for me. I don't see them taking that red Universal Championship and saying, "Hey, Fox, you know how we just got you on SmackDown? You know he had Brock Lesnar with the WWE Championship. Well, we're gonna bring this guy over with the red belt from the Raw show, and Brock's going back to Raw." Like I don't see Fox executives taking two.
What if it was Fox executives that wanted the Fiend?
Maybe, and they said, "I don't care if the belt's red. Bring it on our show anyway. We don't give a shit. Bring it over here." Maybe that's a good suggestion too.
WWE Championship become blue.
Well, let's hope not, because that WWE Championship is like one of my favorite belts in the history of wrestling right now. But yeah, I don't know. I just was curious what you thought, as far as, and maybe you too, Phil.
I mean, the only way we're gonna find
what
out
title's
is
going where
as time passes. They could go multiple ways with this.
Well, does Ray have any shot at beating?
No.
No, not even a little bit.
It's Brock.
But why are they doing it?
something to give Brock and Ray to do. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they had Kofi lose in like 5 seconds, and he was one of the most over things they've had in years.
Yeah, that's debatable question or statement there, but
Is it?
yeah, I think
you saw how many people got out of their seat and were cheering when he won at Mania.
hey, yeah, that was 6 months ago.
Yeah, he was one of the most over things
Yeah.
they've had in years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he was not one of the most over things they had in years at the time that he was pinned 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring for the belt. Don't get me wrong. Do I think he should have lost or should have lost that quickly? No, but I'm just not okay with saying that he was one of the biggest things they've had in years because 3 weeks ago, when Kofi was champion, he was not one of the biggest things they've had in years. That's all I meant. At Mania, when he beat Daniel Bryan and they raised him up, fuck yeah. Hell yeah, I agree with you on that one. But I hope they have an idea with what's going on with these belts because I don't want to have, and I don't think we're going to, but I don't want to have guys jumping all over these shows. Like we just drew the freaking line in the sand like 3 weeks ago.
They always
put
do
a
this.
fence
They always
up.
draw the line in the sand right before Survivor Series when they have people jump shows.
Stupid. So yeah, perfect little
Like, they
segue.
couldn't do it after Mania and then have Mania be this perfect endpoint for each year or air quotes season.
Well, yeah, I was going to say perfect segue, but I want to talk about this really quickly. Well, not quickly, but I want to give its a due and give its applause where it is due because good on you, WWE. You managed to get women wrestling in Saudi Arabia. So that deserves an applause in itself. So congratulations to Natalya and congratulations to Lacey Evans because when I opened my phone, you were there with me on my lunch break and I was watching that show. And when I walked downstairs and I opened my phone and I seen women walking to the ring, I was going, what? Because I don't think they announced that match until at least maybe the day before or the day of. It definitely wasn't announced on SmackDown, or whatever show was before it. I guess it would have been Raw. Yeah, it was a big friggin' deal. Don't get me wrong, they were wearing like pretty much full bodysuits and a t-shirt on top of that. But the fact that they were allowed to have a wrestling match there says, I mean, to me, it says a lot. I don't know too much about Saudi culture, but I know that the women aren't treated particularly well over there. So this is something that shows little girls in Saudi Arabia that, hey, you know, we can achieve higher things. You know what I mean? It sets a bigger goal for them to achieve in life. And that's just a good thing for women and people and anybody that's obviously a fan or a non-fan. But like I said, I just wanted to kind of give them a congratulations on that because it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But kind of segueing like you had kind of mentioned there with the Survivor Series stuff before we get to a little bit of AEW. Yeah, NXT, Raw, SmackDown. I think I called this 3 weeks ago.
I think you did too.
Yeah. The only thing I wish though is that Raw and SmackDown weren't together because I don't think that's the way they're doing it. I think it's more.
Well, I mean, as we just mentioned, they drew the line in the sand. How could you split them up? You're on 2 different shows, 2 different networks. Oh, but now you're a team again.
To fight NXT. That's true. Especially, you know what? I think the new or the multiple network thing bugs me more. Not bugs me, but that's more of a good reason than just the line in the sand. Because now that they're actually on 2 different networks, like it's you can actually say like, no, we don't want that. We're competing with them. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. But the NXT stuff that happened on Friday, everybody was talking about SmackDown like it was the best fucking SmackDown in the history of the world. I really didn't think it was that good. Like some NXT people showed up, and Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan had a good match. But other than that, people online and the wrestling communities that I follow, at least through Twitter and our PW LookBack and Instagram and some podcasts, people were losing their shit over this was the best episode of SmackDown in forever, and I didn't see that. To me, like, you need to do more than just bring up a few people that are on NXT and have them attack a few people that makes no sense. Like, let's put Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox together, even though she broke her fucking leg a year ago, and let's have Shayna Baszler. The Shayna Baszler Becky segment was amazing, but we'll talk about that in a minute. SmackDown to me wasn't this amazing show that it was hyped up to be. All that said, Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole, holy fucking shit, that was a hell of a main event. Maybe that's something you should go and take a look at, Phil, because, I mean, it shows you what smaller guys can do, but it was just an amazing wrestling match. It was incredible. And Daniel Bryan looked big in that match. That was crazy. But I don't know, some of your thoughts on kind of anything that happened there with the NXT. You can get into Raw too if you want. I know you've kind of get your highlights here and there.
I get this is a Survivor Series and they need to have the brands fighting each other, but I think the fact that they're really trying to put NXT in the limelight here putting them like having them invade the bigger brands, and I see this as them really trying to get NXT at the point that they're competing with AEW.
Oh,
because AEW's won like 4 or 5 weeks straight.
Yeah. I just don't think it was a good idea to put those shows on the same time. Like, I don't know why WWE did that. I guess they were trying to take away ratings, but it's like, I don't know, strange that they decided to jump to that, because like there just isn't the wrestling fans that are out there that there used to be. Like Chris Jericho talks about that shit all the time. Like, oh, there was 6.7 million people watching wrestling on Monday Night Raw, and I'm like, well, and sorry, bro, those people aren't coming back. Some of them are just gone. You know what I mean? They're not gone because there's only one company. They're gone because they don't watch wrestling anymore. And it's not because, or it's not, I'm saying that they shouldn't come back or they never will. I'm just, they act like the only reason that people stopped watching wrestling was because there was only one option. And I just don't think that's the case. Wrestling just wasn't as popular in 2006 as it was in 1999 or 2001. It just, and I mean amongst the non-wrestling fans, like the people who knew about wrestling because they knew somebody who knew wrestling, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing fucking time to be a wrestling fan, and I'm happier that AEW has a show than not having a show. But I just, the two shows on the same night at the exact same time on competing networks, I just don't know if the wrestling fans have the capability to.
Well, I think in this modern day and age, it is. You can watch both with streaming and recordings and all that stuff.
I mean, at the same time, but yeah. No.
But yeah, at the same time, it's hard, obviously. Yeah, it's
That's
not having two separate TVs beside each other with WCW and WWE, but you have all this time, like all the rest of the week, like as I mentioned with recordings. You can go back on the WWE network and watch NXT. You can go to TNT website and watch AEW there. They have all their dark matches on YouTube. Like,
yeah, what is that dark after dark? What's it called? They have a show.
Yeah, AEW like dark match. It's their dark AEW dark.
Okay, that's what it's called. Isn't it the dark matches and it's all on YouTube for free?
Yeah,
that's a really smart idea though.
It is.
That's a genius idea because you don't see WWE doing that.
And it's like an hour or an hour and a half of just awesome matches.
And do they do dark matches after the show too? So is it a collection of like before and after?
I don't know if it's before and after. I'm not sure. I think it's just after because normally dark matches are.
No, but yeah, fair enough.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know when they host them. I'd have to ask my friend who went there, but yeah.
What do you mean by dark matches?
Not on TV. So
just not televised.
Yeah, just for the house.
Same superstars and whatnot, or
yep, just for the live crowd.
Just for the house.
Okay, cool.
You'll have like different. I mean, you'll have sometimes at the beginning of shows, like you'll have kind of the guys kind of up and comers on the earlier matches, but then you could have, let's say you go to a Monday Night Raw, Phil, in Toronto. And the final segment of the Monday Night Raw television show isn't a wrestling match. It's a talking segment. It's a contract signing between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, let's say. And they beat each other up. Braun Strowman puts Roman through the table. And then that's the end of Raw. Well, we didn't really get to have we didn't get that moment of the end of the night as the crowd cheering as the good guy wins or whatever. So in that case, then they would put on a dark match with 6-man tag with Roman and 2 other good guys versus Braun, who just beat him up, and 2 other bad guys, or 2 other random people. It doesn't have to be those specific people that were in that segment. And then they'll have a match just for the house, and usually they'll do stuff that you wouldn't see on TV. Like just be more jovial with the crowd, do jokey stuff, and just like not like too funny that it gets unserious. It's just they just do things that they would never, their character would never do on TV. That's all. So yeah, that's.
I was thinking when you said dark matches, it was like up and comers or small guys that aren't really big into it yet.
It could be both. Like I would say before shows, usually it would be more of that, and then like a lot of times you'll have a dark match at the end of a Raw, after 11 o'clock, after the TV's turned off, for the crowd, for the house. But it's not always. It depends. Like I went to Raws that ended. Like the main event of that Monday Night Raw was Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, False Count Anywhere. You don't need to have a dark match after Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins fight for 30 minutes in the main event of Monday Night Raw. So at that point, then it's like, all right, thank you for coming. See you next year, whatever. I don't know where we were before all this, but yeah, that's a good kind of explanation for anybody that doesn't know too about the dark matches. Any more about the Survivor Series NXT stuff? We can talk more going forward in the coming weeks, but I don't know how much there is really to say.
I just like it. It puts a highlight in NXT that kind of needs it. It's been dropping a bit, but NXT is a fantastic product, and it does need more eyes on it.
For sure. I love the logo. I like the blue, the red, and then the fact that they've got the yellow, and it kind of looks like veins or something coming in. Really cool. And I don't know what they're doing as far as like the 5-man traditional Survivor Series match, but is it going to be like a triple threat?
Are you asking me? I don't know, man.
No. I'm just asking your opinion. What do you mean? Why am I asking you?
When is that Survivor Series?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. End of November, I would imagine. It's usually it's not into.
Is it a pay-per-view?
We just had Crown Jewel, so I'm assuming that it's probably towards the end of November.
Yeah, I just know they don't do Survivor Series in December. That's the only reason. I know it's like the November pay-per-view, but yeah, it's a pay-per-view. It's known for I think it might be close to the 30th anniversary at this point because the 25th was not long ago. Anyway, so it's known for having a traditional 5-on-5 match where like one superstar will be Team Phil against Team Nick, and you get 4 guys and I get 4 guys, and we have a 10-man tag. Unfortunately, we don't really do that anymore, and they've just kind of turned it into it's brand supremacy time. So it's Raw against SmackDown against NXT this year. It used to just be kind of Raw and SmackDown. When I was a kid and Donovan was a kid, and I don't know how much you watched when you were younger too, Will, but it used to just be more traditional, like these 2 guys don't like each other, so then they're each going to build a team to then fight each other, and that's how this will be solved and the grudge will end. I don't know. It's a really good pay-per-view. they had Survivor Series in 2016, was in Toronto, and I went. It was an amazing show. It was when Goldberg beat Brock like fucking a minute or something like that. It was the end of the show ended like that, and everybody was like, holy shit, what the heck just happened? Yeah. Brock hadn't lost a match in like 3 years, and literally Goldberg beat him in like under a minute. It was insane. Yeah, crazy moment, but that's the traditional Survivor Series stuff. We might as well move straight forward. I don't really have much to say about Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I don't know. I'll talk more about it next week, but we've already went almost 40 minutes talking about the Fiend here, and I would like to get some of Will's thoughts, unless you're looking at me like you need something else.
Are we going to move on to the AEW?
That's what all I was going to say. Yeah.
I was just going to say AEW's been pretty good so far. The Cody Jericho thing's been pretty good. The Inner Circle, as we mentioned last time, I think I was on the show, it was pretty good faction.
Yeah.
They're doing some good stuff with this Moxley and Omega thing.
Fill me in a little bit, and maybe for the listeners that don't watch every week, because I've missed the last 2 weeks, and depending on how the show goes tonight, I may miss tonight's episode too, but we'll see. But yeah, kind of fill me in, just because Full Gear is this weekend, right? It should be tomorrow after when this episode's being recorded or being released.
I think so, yeah. Something like that, yeah. This is more that Kenny and Moxley going at it, like, I have weapon, here's this weapon, so we're fighting an evil ground, and then Pac kind of jumps in on it.
Okay.
So it's like he's attacking both of them, but it's kind of weird. So it's still a one-on-one fight.
But Pac's involved.
Pac's involved, but then Hangman got involved, so now it's Hangman and Pac fighting each other.
That makes sense.
So now it's just Moxley and Kenny fighting each other. So that's pretty good. LAX has been doing some awesome stuff. In the last show they had in West Virginia, they had the original Rock and Roll Express. The tag team came out.
No way.
Because they were there, so they're all hyping up. And LAX came out and attacked them, and then powerbombed one of them through the stage.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that, because that I didn't. Yeah, that
LAX was actually pretty involved, because then they also had.
They've been very. Sorry to cut you off. They've been very involved since their debut.
Yeah, it was like on the 30th, so it was before Halloween.
Okay.
And then there was a 3-man tag match with the six-man. Sorry, with the Kenny and the Bucks.
Yep.
Versus. I don't remember their tag name, but it's Angelico and Jack Evans, and then there was.
Okay, sorry. Who is the Super Smash Bros? Didn't they change their name?
Yeah, they're the Dark Order now.
The Dark Order. Sorry, continue.
Wow.
It was Jack Evans and Angelico with someone else. I forget who they were tagging with. And then what they were doing is, because it was before Halloween, so they all their Halloween costumes. Oh. And I don't know if you know about Undertale, the video game Undertale.
Not enough. I remember me and you talked about it when Kenny had his entrance for New Japan last year, and Kenny did the whole Undertale entrance.
Well, he did it again.
Japan. Oh, no way.
Except this time he came out dressed as Sans from Undertale and came out to the boss theme that plays when you fight Sans. And the crowd loses their shit.
Because everybody knows.
Everybody knows. It's a meme. It's basically an internet meme. And he comes out as this internet meme, does the shrug and the fireworks pop. It's
Kenny's
fantastic.
Yeah, he's amazing.
They even had, and before he had this thing, like he had the Undertale intro, as we mentioned.
Yeah,
in Japan,
yeah.
they did it again.
With
Except it was New Japan that was the bad guy. And they had all these people show up. Look, like it was like, these are all the people that turned your back on you. And they had this like outline of Ibushi with the G1 trophy there. And like even he turned your back on you. And then it was like the Bucks came in and helped Kenny get his.
Is he G1 champ right now? Like, is he fighting Okada at Wrestle Kingdom?
And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So I was going to bring up before this, but since it's AEW, I thought I'd fill you in.
I was gonna say, if you want, finish AEW and then we can go to New Japan after, because I like just listening. This is kind of me getting filled in. Plus, I'm more hyped than I was 3 minutes ago for Full Gear. Just kind of those top 3 matches. I really like singles matches. They've always been my favorite. And when you have 3 top singles matches like Jericho, Omega, or Jericho, Cody, Omega, and Dean, and then Hangman and Pac, those are 3 matches with 6 fucking incredible wrestlers.
Oh yeah. And then they also have, I think they announced it now. It was the Bucks versus LAX. That's happening now because LAX has been attacking the Bucks. Like when Rock and Roll Express got powerbombed, it was the Bucks that came out to help them. And then after that, the 6-man tag match, it was LAX in the crowd.
Yep,
they attacked the Bucks afterwards.
I think I saw that at least, because I think that was the last episode I watched, was when they had the 6-man at the end of the show.
That was when it was sponsored by Rick and Morty, so they had like the Rick and Morty masks on.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
And they attacked them.
You know what? I didn't see that live.
There was another match where it was the best friends in Orange Cassidy. They had Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor dressed up as Rick from Rick and Morty, then they had Trent as Morty, and they're doing the match and they have the wigs and stuff. It was fantastic.
That's actually pretty funny. I'm gonna have to go back again and see. Maybe if I watch it tonight, we'll see some of the I don't know, they'll show highlights of it. But what did you want to get into any of the New Japan stuff too? Or?
Yes. I wanted to ask you, have you ever actually sat down and watched a New Japan show?
I've watched Wrestle Kingdom. Which one did Jericho fight Omega?
I think that was 11 or 12.
I watched that show start to finish. Shout out to Mike D. I watched it at his house. The whole thing. I went to his house at, 2 a.m. it starts?
Something like that.
Japan. Same idea. Shout out to the Japanese Grand Prix. And yeah, I watched it. I think I remember leaving Mike's house and it was light out. And I was like, holy shit, this is weird. Because it was light outside. And I was like, holy fuck, we've been up all night watching wrestling.
This time around.
I plan to watch this one. It's just the fact it's...
I get it. It's in the morning at a weird time.
It's not the timing. It's if it was a fucking Saturday night, Sunday.
It's on the same day every year. It's the same date, January 4th always. Doesn't matter if it's on a weekend or not. So
exactly.
I get that's a little hard.
When it's during the week, I can't with work and shit.
It's hard. Yeah. But they're doing it something special this year.
Okay.
It's January 4th and January 5th.
No, I heard them
2 days.
I heard that talk about this actually. Now that you say that, like 5 months ago, I don't know. It was a while. Just rumors of it. So is that like main event on both days? Or,
oh yeah.
So what's
it's Wrestle Kingdom on 2 days.
But
it's 2 days full show.
Wow. So they're just treating it. Are they going to bill it like it's its own crescendo at the end of each night?
I think so. Something like that. It's like it's Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, and then like January 5th is also like a big show.
So where is Okada and Ibushi fighting?
January 4th. That's the main event, January 4th.
Okay, so that's still.
So then that's where this comes in, because in the last show they had Power Struggle, the best big pay-per-view. They had Jay White, the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, I know Jay White.
And Naito, who was the former Intercontinental Champion.
I know him too. I got his T-shirt.
So what they're doing is the winner of Okada versus Ibushi will then go on to the main event of January 5th to fight for the Intercontinental Championship.
What?
So it's very possible
that they could
come out and there could be a unification or a double champion.
Holy fuck. That's a big deal, Phil, for especially New Japan. They really what's the word? Step back. They don't they're not the ones to just fucking go blow their load and let's just unify the belts and put them together because that would be super cool. No, that's not what New Japan is. Very traditional, old school, going to do it. Traditional, I guess that's the best word to use. So the fact that that's even being talked about is a big deal. That's cool. I don't know if I can watch both or when do you know when it's going to fall? I don't have a calendar in front of me.
I don't know.
Take a look.
Off the top of my head, but it should still be fantastic.
Fill the airwaves because I'll find something. I got
another one that came back was Ospreay is the junior champion, right?
Yes.
And then the last show,
that belt's not that old, right? It's only been around.
No, it's been around forever.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's been like since the 90s.
Yeah. Sorry.
Dude.
No. My bad. That's the one that Finn Balor had.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
So
my bad.
The guy that won it from the junior...
I'm watching it. Sorry.
It's on the weekend?
It's on a Saturday. Like
4th is on a
the
Saturday.
4th is a Saturday.
Ooh.
The 4th. So that
And
means
here's the thing.
that
though,
means
because
Friday night?
It's 2 a.m. here.
Yeah, that's
So it's Saturday morning and Sunday morning. So it's not like you can't watch the 5th show because that's on Monday morning. We could watch both shows that weekend.
That's amazing. We're gonna have to.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, we should. Well, I don't know. We should try and plan something with the show for that too. Get Donovan and maybe even Mike
We
and
can have a look back beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to take notes for a New Japan show, but that's might be a little bit different. But we'll see. I'm not saying
right.
a no.
So as I was saying, Ospreay's the junior champion, and the guy that came back at that show is Hiromu Takahashi.
No fucking way.
He's back after a year away.
This
After
is
from
like
a broke.
John Cena of Japan.
Oh, okay.
Like from a no.
I'm thinking of Tanahashi,
You're thinking of Tanahashi.
not Takahashi.
Takahashi, it was an LIJ. He's the junior for Ingobernables.
Is he Daryl?
Yeah.
Okay. then-
So he's back after a year away from a broken neck.
holy shit.
And
Okay.
he returned. The crowd's going crazy
Wow.
because when he went away,
Because Tanahashi's retired, right? Just to
I don't know if he's retired.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Either
Yeah.
way, sorry. Continue.
But so he's back and he immediately comes out, throws himself around the ring like, "Hey guys, look, I'm healed," and then challenges Ospreay, but does the promo in English.
Oh shit.
So
Why?
I don't know, because he's been away from the hospital for like a year. He's been learning up on English a lot.
Oh, so his English actually got better. It wasn't
Yeah,
just
he's
like
actually pretty damn good at it.
I
now.
thought it was like a dig at Ospreay or something.
No, but he's back and it's huge. If for you know about star ratings right there, Phil, with
Kinda. I don't know how much he's familiar
Okay.
with that in wrestling.
but Dave Meltzer is a reviewer. He rates matches. If it gets a 5-star, it's just a fucking awesome match. Kenny Omega and Okada are the only 2 people in history, something like that, to break the 5-star match record with 6-star matches.
Yeah.
Those matches are that good.
It's
Hiromu Takahashi is the only other man to break the 5-star barrier with a 5.5-star match.
Who did he have that with?
I think it was
Was it Kenny or somebody like
no.
that?
It was another junior.
And was it a long time ago, or was it within the last 5 years?
it was like last year.
Oh wow.
When he first won the championship, like he was super over.
Yeah, well, dude, I remember him when I saw him wrestle in ROH with Mike at War of the Worlds, and we seen Colt Cabana wrestle Daryl the Cat, and that was something special. Let me tell you, Daryl the Cat is a stuffed animal cat that this guy brings with him everywhere. It's hard to explain, but we'll show you another time.
But he's back now. He's challenged Ospreay, and it's gonna be so good. Oh my god, those shows are gonna be so good.
Can I, anytime I don't have, I'm going to get one and make sure I get it for the next time you're on the show. I'm going to use this for today, and then next time you're on the show, I'm going to get a New Japan one. I would like to, if you're okay with this, start some kind of segment where every time you're on the show, we do a New Japan roundup.
Mm.
So for the time being, I'm going to use this, even though it's very not New Japan. But I'm going to get you a New Japan bell. And we'll make that.
I do have to tell you beforehand, I don't watch every New Japan show.
No,
like,
but hey, you're going to be able to talk way more than anybody else on the Pro Wrestling
Yeah,
LookBack about
that's
New
true.
Japan. So
that's fair.
That's
I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's like Donovan with the UFC. That's your base to cover.
I'm super hyped about this,
Bro. I'm excited.
I know you're a sucker for story, and I'm gonna go into it one more time here,
Yeah.
just to tie New Japan and the AEW together. When Kenny and the Bucks and them all started AEW. This is, I don't know if this is a true story or just a storyline, I'll admit, but when they asked Kenny why didn't Ibushi come to AEW with you, Kenny looked at the reporter and said, because I knew if I gave him a contract, he wouldn't even think about it, he would sign that contract. So I didn't give him a contract because I wanted Ibushi to achieve his dream of becoming the IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, that's not manufactured. The only part that kind of sucks about that is, like, do you, as someone who's probably a bigger New Japan fan than me, do you think he would have been able to do that if Kenny never left?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, if anyone were to beat Kenny had he not left, I would probably, in my idea, would have been Ibushi.
Like, does Ibushi still, not that he's won it yet, but does Ibushi still win the IWGP World
Oh, he
Heavyweight
very well could.
with Kenny, with no AEW existing?
With no AEW existing, probably.
You think so?
If Ibushi was to win it from anyone, it'd probably have been Kenny. He probably would have won to beat Kenny, and then they would have had this big makeup, like, you beat me fair and square, but I held it for a year, like, whatever, you know?
I'd like to see him win that championship. That would be...
I mean, out of the 4 guys of Jay White, Naito, Okada, and Ibushi. I want Ibushi to just do it.
I'm
finally,
with you.
please.
I'll be cheering for Ibushi too. I if I had to put my money on it, it's gonna be Okada. But Ibushi's the more fan favorite. Okada.
Speaking
is more
of Okada,
Triple H.
because
over
as I
there.
mentioned at the Power Struggle, they all this thing where they all came out, cut the promo. Okada is the one person that said he didn't want to fight for the double championship.
Oh wow!
Because he's doing like, I'm the champion. I value each and every match this has. I don't need 2 championships.
But
so then
they're
he
so- I
then
love that.
then he
Passion.
looked over at Naito, because I don't know, you're too familiar in the backstories or whatever.
No.
But basically, well, I guess I have to.
I just know this.
Yeah, the eye.
I'm opening my eye right now for anybody. For
Before
everybody that can't see me.
Naito was in LIJ, he was this, whatever, upcoming babyface. And he won the G1 to fight Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. But apparently the crowd soured on Naito so badly, the New Japan had to have a vote as what would be the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
Wow.
So in the end, it was Tanahashi versus Nakamura for the main event,
Oh,
for the Intercontinental.
My boy.
Yeah. So Okada and Naito lost the vote. So back in this promo, Okada was like asking the crowd, should I 2 belts or just the 1? And then he looked over at Naito. I'm like, maybe we should put it to a vote. Remember the last time we let the crowd vote, Naito?
Oh shit. Fuck. Yeah, we're gonna have to plan it, bro. Let's plan it. We're saying it on the show now. We're planning this Wrestle Kingdom party because we're gonna have to see that. And then, like I said, remind me about the bell because I'm bringing that.
It is the one show, without a doubt. I will take time off of work. I'll be like, I want this day off because I want to watch this. It's that goddamn good.
There you go. You heard it here first. I guess with all that stuff out of the way, we should move right into it, eh, boys?
I guess so.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
There we go. There we go.
Oh yeah, Phil's here.
Oh hey.
Again, I feel I didn't get the sound that I mentioned to you last week. The bald eagle or the
yeah.
big. I was thinking maybe a Mack truck that would work too, or like
Just a horn.
yeah,
Air horn.
yeah, just driving by, America down the road again. I don't know.
America.
We had the United States Grand Prix for the Formula One update in the roundtable this week. I know me and Phil got a chance to watch it. It was 3 in a row. Shout out to that. Fuck, first time. Did you watch the full race start to finish, or did you just kind of catch all the highlights?
Kind of catch up of it because I had an ARC race to call at the same time.
This is true. You talked to us at the beginning about how you do it on the Sundays. I don't know if that was before we were recording or not. But anyway, we talked about you doing that on the Sunday, so that makes sense. And
That would have been an overlap because it was a 3 o'clock race.
It was.
Yep.
So you definitely missed that, but I'm sure you caught up because you stay up to
Yeah.
date with all this stuff.
I watch all the radio messages, all the race highlights and stuff.
But boys, like I might just call this episode the applause because Lewis Hamilton is the sixth time drivers world champion.
Fun fact about Lewis Hamilton: every lap he's ever raced, every qualifying
I know I think I know
every pole position, every race, every lap he's turned has been with a Mercedes power plant.
Yeah, he's never driven a Formula One
13
lap
13 years
without a Mercedes power unit in the back, and he was driving Mercedes. Leading, he was signed by McLaren when he was 13.
Oh yeah,
and
Young
then
driver program
driving Mercedes engines. I'm sure when he was in Formula 4.
Even his
Formula
Zonda has a Mercedes engine.
There you go. So I didn't even know that. But yeah, amazing achievement. We'll get to the whole race, but I don't know. Congratulations to Mercedes. Congratulations to Lewis for 6 double world championships. It's pretty insane, crazy stat. And probably not something that people ever thought would get beat. Me and you were talking about that a little bit in the lunchroom today, and just Schumacher at the time. I don't think I compared it to Wayne Gretzky and some of his records. That you put them in the same kind of category as, those are records that aren't going to get beaten. Like, those are just ones that are there that are going to be there because the sport's changed. You know what I mean? It's not the way it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But
I always used to think there was some kind of curse or unwritten rule in just motor racing in general, where everyone will only ever match 7 world championships, because Sebastian Loeb in World Rally 7 world championships, Michael Schumacher 7 world championships. I'm blanking on some of the other ones, but there was 7.
Is there any NASCAR guys?
There was
Tony Stewart
it was
or some
like
shit like
7 for Petty and Earnhardt.
Okay.
But then of course Jimmy Johnson has to go and ruin and win 11. So
yeah, that's true. He won a lot. Is he the most? Is he
Yeah.
like?
Johnson is the most, but he started winning when they introduced the chase. So it's
Yeah, that's true. Like the playoff chase and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You mean? That's true. And the stages.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
So-
about NASCAR right now.
It's on topic,
But it,
though.
but
It's
it-
on
yeah,
topic.
but it was
It's
the
true.
idea of that, like, in every championship, the most anyone has ever won was 7.
Wow.
So, like,
So will Lewis get 7 next year?
will he get 7?
Will he get 7?
actually
Will he get 8?
Will he break the streak of motor racing?
8? I think. I mean, next year I talked to you again. We talked about
mentioned
this
that,
a
yeah.
little bit. Next year, if we don't see a lot of changing in Formula One, and Ferrari seems to pick strategies the same way they've been doing it lately, we'll probably see 7, unless Bottas really turns it on, or the Honda comes out in fucking Australia with something that nobody knew, and Adrian knew it. You know what I mean? You never know. But I just mean the way it looks now. Like, I don't want to say you can pencil it in because you can't, but if everything falls the way that it kind of they would like to, Lewis, yeah, I'm sure he'll get 7 next year. If like I said, if everything kind of stays the same. 2021, with everything that's announced, and we'll talk a little bit about it after, I don't know. It's definitely going to be different going forward. But either way, it's an accomplishment. To 6 championships in a row is insane for the team, Mercedes, and then the fact that Lewis won all those with the Rosberg one in 16 there in the middle. It's just a hell of a fucking...
I did see a nice little meme. It was like 7 championships with Schumacher, and then 6 with Lewis, and the one man to beat both of them, Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, 'cause that's true, because he did beat Schumacher when Schumacher was at Mercedes. That's true. Fuck. Didn't win a championship, but yeah. Oh, man.
What about the constructor? That you think they're going to get a 7th constructor?
Most
championship?
likely.
I would say, again, yeah, like if everything... Unless we have some crazy double diffuser development over the summer.
They are introducing the cost cap, but I don't think they're introducing penalties for it until 2021. So
Yeah.
No, but the cost cap doesn't even come in until 2021
Yeah.
either.
Oh, I thought it came in
that's
with
all with the
2020.
new
Yeah, because
regulations.
shout out to our boys, Phil. They were at 3 Legs 4 Wheels. They were talking about how they were talking this week about how the teams next year are going to be going crazy
pushing
in the developmental game
spending
because
as much money as they can.
next year they don't have a cast cop or
They
cast
do.
cop. They don't. In
Next year.
2020, there's no cash cap. There we go. So they can spend as much money as they want on the 2021 car in 20 before 21 comes.
Do you think they're allowed to do that?
I don't know what's gonna say.
That's why I said I thought it came in 2020, but they weren't introducing like penalties for it until 2021.
No, I mean, as far as I knew, like I said, from what I had heard on this show, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I just know that next year, because I think it was something to do with what Christian Horner had said, and he was kind of making a comment like, well, the developmentals game or the developmental race for 2021 is going to be going crazy in 2020 because they still have the money.
I guess, yeah. They
It's
could
just
do
like-
all the research and investment, right?
Like they're building that. Mercedes has already started that car now.
Oh yeah.
The 2021 car.
They probably started at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, let alone the 2020 car is almost finished, if not done at this point, ready to go out. So,
See, with the way Mercedes and how consistent they are and how good their car is, I could see them, having a 7th constructor title next year. But for 2021, it's in the air.
It's open season.
which is good.
It is good.
That's a great thing. I don't like when people get on Mercedes' case too much because to me they're just really good and they hire the best people. They have a lot of money, but they just make the right decisions and they've done that for 6 fucking years. Who's to say that they won't still do that in
2021?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll give you a better
I mean,
indicator.
I'd expect them to be towards the front of the field, or whether or not they're coming home as champion. That's up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. And even if they are coming home as
Like
champion,
I don't suddenly expect them to be being beaten by Toro Rosso.
no. But I would just like to see Toro Rosso have more odd podiums.
Oh yeah.
AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we do, and with
Hopefully.
the aero package, hopefully more winners too. Instead of this, I saw a stat a while ago where it was like in the past 4 or 5 years, there's only been like 4 or 5 different winners,
Shit.
which is crazy.
Well, yeah, I know Lewis has won more than half of the races since the beginning of the hybrid engine in 14.
Yeah, you've said that before.
And another random little stat that I heard from the 3 Legs 4 Wheels, which this one was just crazy. I couldn't believe this, but it's believable, but it's just like, holy shit, you never really thought about it. Lewis has now doubled all the stats of Ayrton Senna. He has double the championships, double the amount of race wins, probably double the amount of competed races. It's just crazy to think, like, what Senna is, and then literally like now what Lewis has, and to think Lewis was looking up to him.
Yeah.
And wanted to be a driver because of him, and then now literally has double the achievements of someone of that, stature and held in such high regard in Formula One. Do you guys want to talk about, because I was thinking we were going to go right into the race, but we kind of went more into the 2021. Do you guys want to just talk about what happened and kind of the announcements and the new car and just your guys' thoughts on the new cars itself?
Yep. Yeah. Max Verstappen, he said it was small.
Small?
That was at the press conference, but...
I like the idea that they're trying to take away the downforce on the top of the car and put it underneath, because IndyCar's got the same idea with their car right now. We're trying to more focused on ground effect. And say what you want about IndyCar on the races they race or whatever. At least their races are a little bit more unpredictable. They have different winners, and it's kind of always a toss-up going into a race where it's like, oh, well, these 7 guys could actually win the race.
Absolutely. No, IndyCar is, for anyone who, enjoys this F1 update that doesn't watch IndyCar or doesn't even, at least go watch a few YouTube videos here and there, race highlights and stuff, go do it, because it's amazing racing. It's an amazing series. I think the biggest thing that, if you're a massive Formula One fan and you want to try and get into IndyCar, the biggest difference would be the technology and just how much more advanced those Formula One cars are, a piece of machinery, than an IndyCar. Not to take anything away from anyone who's a mechanic or anybody who builds an IndyCar, but an IndyCar is still in its origins still mechanical. Like, it's still very mechanical, whereas a Formula One car is mechanical, but
There's also say a lot of technology in the thing.
I would say it's almost
controlling.
A lot of electrons.
There's almost probably more sensors and wires than there is mechanics.
And it's actually pretty crazy to think, because IndyCar raced at COTA the first time in a while.
Last year, 2 years ago, I remember.
And
we talked about this last week.
And they were comparing the times because they want to see what's an IndyCar stack up like F1 car. And they're like, it's a little bit faster than a Formula 2.
What's that? The
IndyCar.
Yeah, just a little bit faster. We talked about this last week on the F1 update in the Halloween special, how much quicker the Formula One car is, especially around a track like COTA, because of the turning and the downforce. That's just the back straight. The IndyCar can keep up, if not pass it, but it's the braking and the ERS recovery systems and all that.
Just the crazy barge boards, the splitters.
Exactly, the stupid amount of downforce that these cars have that you can just send it into
underneath to clean the air up, and the racing should be closer, and it should be way better. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. What do you? Well, yeah, you go first.
From 50% to 10% is a big change, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to, is the close racing.
Do you guys like the look of the cars?
Yes,
I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the look of the crazy aero cars too, just because it looks like
said that before.
It looks like the spaceship that goes like around the track so quick. Like, we're looking back at the 08 cars.
I was just gonna say, you've said that to me before on the show about the 2008 cars.
The 08 cars with their crazy little winglets off their side pods, and I like the way the cars look now. The flat and the kind of the spoiler, how it kind of has that.
Yep. I know what you mean. I don't like the 2019 front wing. I'm not really a fan of it. I kind of haven't been all year, but it's here and it's not going anywhere. But it's just in comparison to the years previous. And I think I've said this to you before. I'm not sure, but I'm not lying. One of the biggest things that got me into Formula One in 2016 was the arrow on the front of the Formula One cars. Like, you know what I mean? When I put up 4 fingers, just all the little slits that were all over the front wing. And I'll never forget watching 2016 Formula One car, and I was like, holy shit, look at that. That is so freaking cool. Every one of those little things does something. And now it literally just looks like, here's your, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very
it. But so they took it and put it on the barge boards. If you ever get a close-up picture of the barge boards, oh my God.
Oh, it's insane. Oh, I have model cars too. Like, I can show you. They're
insane. Those barge boards are...
And they just get even more. Like, if you look at the 2017 car barge boards and then you look at the 2019 car, it is insane how much more work they had to do, because they had to take away the arrow from the front of the car and find elsewhere to put it. But yeah, it's the cost cap looks like it's going to be a good thing. The cars themselves look amazing. My biggest thing, and again, we talked about this, Phil, but I just hope, and Lance Stroll said it best of all fucking people, I hope we don't lose too much speed. I really hope that the lap times, and obviously we're going to lose some speed, like that's a given. These lap times that we're seeing in 2017, 18, 19 are not going to be beat for years to come, but maybe next year they'll get beat in 2020, I don't know. But going forward after that, definitely not. It's just, I don't know where I was going. Like, I don't want to see it diminish too much. I can accept, and I'm going to have to, we're all going to have to accept it diminishing a little bit because of better racing. But at the same time, I don't want to have these cars be, for example, I don't want a Formula 1 car to be as quick as an Indy car. I want that shit to be stopping later and turning quicker. And that's the reason it's Formula 1. It's Uno 1, top game, NHL, NFL.
100%. I get, yeah. It's
MLB.
called it's Formula 1 for a reason. It's
That's all. It's the speed. I don't want to lose that just to get racing, because it's like, well, I race go-karts that go 75 and we have wicked races, but it's like, it's not all about having good races all the time. You know what I mean? Speed is a factor here, and being the top motorsport division.
It needs to be exciting while not losing what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So we already know that we're going to be losing power in the straights?
They're not going to have the downforce.
If anything, they're probably going to be a bit faster on the straights because they have less downforce to slow them down.
Less drag.
So with that being said, slow in, fast out, right, on the turns.
Yes, but the braking, like the downforce helps in braking huge. It's not just the brakes. Like the actual
I get that, yeah. 'Cause it's pushing
aerodynamic
down to the car, I get it.
I just think that, like, when you add those up, when you add in, don't get me wrong, you're not wrong about the slow in, fast out kind of thing, or fast in, slow out. Or wait,
Other way,
yeah, slow in, fast out. What I said originally. And now I've lost what I was going to say, so never mind. Keep going.
Honestly, I don't see them losing too much speed. Maybe time, like you said, with the aero, with turns and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's going to be better racing. They're going to be closer on the straights. They're going to be closer on the turns. You're not going to be hearing people going, oh, I lost downforce because of this. Oh, dirty air, this and that.
Yeah.
It's going to be push. Oh, you made the mistake. You're off the track. Not, oh, dirty air. I had oversteer.
I couldn't. Yeah, you know what? And if that's what the options are, then I mean, obviously you want the close racing, and you don't want to have people not passing because of air. Because when you talk about that, it reminds me of tires, because people complain, oh, the tires, like they have to save them too much and they have to save fuel. Like, I like that shit. Like, if they didn't have to save fuel and didn't have to save tires, I can tell you right now, I would be less interested in the sport. Like, that's one aspect that, like, I like when they have to work for it, not just like they can't make an overtake because they have to save fuel.
I wish there was a bit more of a pace discrepancy between the different compounds of tire. Like, I don't want to see someone start a race on mediums and do a one stop onto hards. Like, I want to see those softs be fast enough that whether it's a two stop on softs then to mediums for the last stint, I want to see a proper discrepancy.
But do you want guys
tire
pushing
pace.
for 70 laps or no? Because I hear people say that, and I don't. Like, I like the management aspect of it.
I'm not saying have a management. I just want to see a pace discrepancy between the tires. Like, someone could put on a set of hards and someone will be on a set of mediums, and they're doing within a second of each other in the laps times.
Yeah,
like that seems wrong to me.
I think you're not wrong. I think that is it matters in the longevity. It's not the overall single lap pace. It's the over time. Are these tires going to degrade more than, like, are those softs going to be done 20 laps
that's the
before
thing.
those hards?
They're focused on the degradation and how long if they can make it and maintain that pace. I just want to see the actual pace of the tire be bigger.
Separate. I know. Well, because then the strategies mean more. And like when you're deciding a strategy, whether you want to be on hards or softs or mediums or whatever, it's a little bit, you have the discrepancy. We're going to get 2 seconds quicker on these tires over the course of whatever. Yeah, that's true too. Do you guys want to get into the United States Grand Prix, or is there anything else you want to talk about the new cars? Because I'm sure we can talk more about it in these last couple F1 updates that we've got.
As for the new cars, I'll probably just mention the 18-inch rims, because I'm looking forward to that for next year, to see how the tires are going to be acting, how they're going to be able to cope with the tires, how one of the best tire management guys, Lewis, is he going to be able to manage this tire?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we get to see less punctures from it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be you mean from contact, from wheel to
yeah,
wheel?
Like
and
the
stuff?
smallest contact.
The sidewall just tears because they're so big on these tires. But because they're smaller, hopefully the tire is a bit more resistant.
It's going to be reinforced. Yeah, it's gonna have to have a stronger sidewall, just like a low profile tire. It needs that strong sidewall, so when you turn, it's not causing lateral movement and stretching it. It's just should be planted. You
would probably be able to answer this better than me, but would the rim not be an issue there? Like, as far as like more surface area of rim being able to come in contact with the other tire /rim?
In theory, yeah, but I'd wager that a rim is probably stronger than a tire.
I meant like the rim popping the other tire? Like if my rim pops your tire, is that an issue, you think?
I
Or
would
the
say
rim,
no.
the rims will be kind of concaved enough that
It's at the end of the day, it's the tire. I don't know.
Actually, if you think about it, aren't they introducing tire rim covers or something?
Are they?
In
That's what
2021?
well, 2021.
Yeah,
We're talking
21.
about 2020, right?
Yeah, next year's the 18.
Are they gonna do that?
18 rims start.
Next year, the next day you start, but in 2021 they have the wheel covers.
Yeah.
Like the Braun did, the Braun
Yeah.
GP. Right?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right. Which
See, the thing is, I'm pretty sure the tires are square, which means that the aspect ratio and the width of the tire is exactly the same size of the rim. So with that being said, the sidewalls of the tires don't extend past, nor are they inwards from the rim.
it's
So if
literally
you have
just
contact, it should be tire to tire,
tired. Okay. So
right?
just
and
like
what
it is.
Will's saying, with the current tires right now, you get that tire to tire action, or even the front splitter tire touching. We saw with Max Verstappen, one touch from
The
Bottas.
sidewall.
Where was the tire? It fucking came apart and rolled across the track. You know, so with that
That's a
being
good
said, I do see stronger tires, stronger sidewalls, but at the same time, is that going to be affecting heat? Is that going to affect grip, performance? We'll see.
Yeah. No, that's I mean they were trying them this weekend. They had those black tires out. I didn't know what the fuck it was in practice. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and
what are
on
these?
the graphic, it just had a T.
Yeah.
Little white T on it. Yeah.
Well, I noticed, like, is that how you noticed it first? Because I seen a car come by and there was no color on his wheels. And I was
Leclerc. I think it was Leclerc was testing the tires.
Yeah. Well, there was a few teams, but Leclerc might have been the first one. I
The
think.
first one I noticed, yeah, because that's when on the graphics on the left side had a T
It
with
had
a
a
white
T.
circle, and I was like, okay, that's different.
I should have checked there. I wasn't even looking at the side there. I was literally looking at the actual car, and I'm like, why is his tires all black? I'm like, there's no color on the sidewall. But that was obviously why.
They did mention it. They mentioned it during the qualifying, I believe. Yeah.
I got a few other things. We might as well just get this in before we actually talk about the race. They had some crazy cold weather down there in Texas this weekend.
America.
It's crazy. I wasn't not expecting people.
What's cold weather, Nick?
It was like +3. But that's cold as a motherfucker. You live
Yeah,
in
I guess
Texas.
so.
You can drive to Mexico. Like, I mean, shit.
Yeah, for them that is pretty cold.
You know, so people were. And when I put on the paddock pass on the Thursday night when I came home to watch it, buddy Will Buxton there's wearing a big winter coat and a toque, and I'm like, shit, these guys must be cold. So I don't know how much that affected the weekend, but you had those crazy bumps that were affecting everybody all weekend. If I don't know how much of it you saw, Will, with the highlights, but in practice, man, it was insane how
Turn
much
one
these
was
cars
bad.
were. Turn 1 was nuts. Like, there was
It needs a resurfacing at this point.
Took the words out of my mouth.
cracks all over. Like, I seen them when they were doing I don't know what Sky part of the broadcast it was, but they were up the hill. They're halfway up the hill, and you could literally see cracks right across the asphalt, all the way across from one side to the other.
In my opinion, for a Formula One ranked circuit that actively competes on the Formula One calendar, that's unacceptable.
Oh, it's completely.
The amount of times they're bottoming out just from going into a braking zone, you see that
When
front splitter
Sebastian
just-
Vettel's suspension breaks because he hit an apex.
Exactly.
That was turn 9. Everyone was taking it wide. Every single driver.
Super wide. It
It was like they were trying to touch the grass. I swear. Like, was it just me?
Well, because
Sorry.
they must have been able, like, that must have been quicker. If they were, because you're right, they were. Every time you'd watch that replay, you'd see a little puff of fucking dirt come up.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, is that
I think
quicker
it was,
that
yeah,
way?
It was
I think it was like turn 9 or
I
something.
know.
think it
I know.
was
They
when
specifically in the race they messaged Leclerc saying, "Do not hit that apex."
Yeah, and
he's
says
like,
why?
Because your suspension, you need your suspension. He's like, oh, okay.
Holy shit.
They mentioned that saying, "Don't touch turn 8 on curb." The curb on turn 8.
Like miss apex turn 8.
Yeah.
He's like, why?
And then I started noticing people were actually hitting that curb, that sausage curb, going into turn 8, so they had a better exit for turn 9.
That's the sausage curb that they put there on the weekend? Like, that wasn't even there in practice. They added it for qualifying
I
or for the
believe
race,
so.
one or the other. But it wasn't, because there was a time when we were watching and Hulkenberg cut it completely. And then the next day they put that little bullard or sausage curb in.
The failure for Sebastian's suspension, I don't believe it was from turn 8. It was on turn 9, but it had to be just too much loaded weight on it. So
And
other
like,
than that,
we'll get to it in a second, I guess. But do you think it was just repetitive nature of him going over it
Possibly.
too many
Absolutely.
times?
I mean, if you want to go back and look back in history again, back to 2005 Nürburgring Grand Prix, Kimi Räikkönen's front suspension failure. that happened because he flat spotted a tire so badly and just did a single lap on it.
Yeah.
And
Is that when his tires blew and he was in the lead or no?
Yeah, that's when the entire suspension failed. It's because he flat spotted a tire passing a back marker.
And he
flat spotted it so bad for an entire lap, and then after in the front straight, it just blew.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I can tell you how much vibrations and oscillations were going through that suspension for it to fail.
Oh, probably a fuck ton.
As much as we probably didn't see it or saw it at the time, he probably felt it. He definitely felt it. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, no, go. I've said it before in the F1 update, but if anybody's interested, go check out that Mark Priestley Elvis book because he talks about that in the book. That book is fucking incredible. Anybody who's a Formula One fan, check it out. Other things before we get to it quick. Danny Ricciardo's fucking helmet this weekend was incredible. I don't even watch football at all, but that might be one of my favorite F1 helmets I've ever seen. He legit had a football helmet. Like his whole helmet was painted to look like a football helmet, all the way to the point where like under his visor was painted black. So then when they painted the grill, what do you call it?
The mask?
The mask of the football helmet?
The cage.
The cage. There you go. That's a perfect answer. I played hockey. I should fucking know that. That when they painted that on, it looked like a cage because behind it was black, and then the rest of the helmet looked like a football helmet. And he wore that all weekend. You couldn't tell from the TV pod; it just looked like he was wearing a white helmet, but it was wicked. And then during the driver parade, he was wearing the Texas Longhorns full gear over top of his suit with the shoulder pads and everything. Again, I don't watch football. I don't watch college football. Probably my least favorite fucking sport that there is, but I still think that's wicked because Daniel Ricciardo loves America, loves Texas, and it's just cool. I like when they bring that stuff in. Like it's, I don't know, do more of that stuff.
That's like Norris's helmet too.
Exactly.
The America Texas Ranger on the back.
Oh yeah, and I thought you were talking about the one that he had in Italy when he had the Valentino Rossi helmet.
Oh, that's sweet too.
And it's bringing stuff that's from that country in with it, and then the fans get behind. I don't know. It just makes sense to me.
He's got a fetish for Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, he does.
He has a obsession.
I think I told you. I don't know if I told you about
the Twitch channel.
The Twitch channel he's on, and he's racing with Max, and he's like, Max is like, what the fuck are you wearing, Lam?
Oh
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's Valentino Rossi merch.
We talked about that on the show. But yeah, let's get to the race. Like we talked about, Lewis, world champion, 6 times world champion. Finished in P2. He was 4 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas. I would say nice pass at the beginning of the race on Sebastian Vettel. Holy shit. That might be up there for overtake of the season. That was
quite possibly
incredible. And then just the tires, I would say was, I don't want to say it was a complete opposite of Mexico, but it was kind of the complete opposite of Mexico in the sense that Lewis just wasn't the tire king this weekend like he was in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what, I don't know, made him unavailable or unable to get past or stay in front of, I guess, Valtteri Bottas. Who? P1, Valtteri Bottas. Shout out to my mom once again. Big fan. She was almost doing backflips.
I was really hoping we weren't going to forget him.
Who, me?
Yeah, all of us.
Oh.
Talking about Valtteri.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. We spent so much time talking about Lewis being the champion and the 21 car and then all the little stats. Yeah. Now we'll get to kind of our top 3 teams and then anything else you guys want to talk about. Yeah, congrats. Hey, I called it the applause episode.
Give him one.
We might as well at this point. The guy won the goddamn race. And this is what? I think his 3rd race win of the year? 4th?
Something like
I could be wrong.
Like that.
I want to say 4, but
I want to say 4 too, because I know for sure Australia, and I know for sure this one, and I'm trying to think of the ones. Suzuka,
yeah, that's 3.
And then maybe one more, but I'm not 100%, and I don't.
No, Lewis won Bahrain because Leclerc.
Because Leclerc had to pull over and whatnot. Do you want me to check, boys? Is this really something I could check?
Nah, it's fine. Okay. Lewis wins championship. Lewis wins all.
Lewis wins all. Yeah, driver of the weekend, though, is Valtteri fucking Bottas. As much as Lewis won the world championship this weekend, and we all know that, I personally think it was Valtteri Bottas. The guy led almost every practice session, like through practice, and then qualified on pole. Yep. I mean, he did everything he could possibly do this weekend to stop Lewis from winning the championship, even as much so as, and it took listening to 3 Legs, 4 Wheels for me to realize this, but he passed Lewis twice on track, 2 times. That is an accomplishment in itself, whether you're on different strategies or not. It's still an accomplishment. You're still in a Formula 1 car, and you still got to make an overtake. So kudos to that. But yeah, he did well all weekend, and I I don't know. Like I said, you can't ask for much more than from Bottas than that if you wanted him to win the championship.
Like you said, I want to see him win out for the rest of the year.
Oh, that would be wicked.
So he has a nice, good mentality for 2020.
Going into 20, I've said it a couple times. But just like Rosberg in 2015, I wasn't even watching, but I've gone back and I've seen a lot of it, and I just know Rosberg won out. I want to say 4, possibly even 5 of the final races of the 2015 season. Basically, from the time Lewis won the championship, which I think was in USA, so it was probably 4 races because he won the USA. Won the championship, same as this year in USA. Lewis didn't win another race. Rosberg won the rest of the races that year and then rolled right into 2016 and won, I think, the first 2-3 races of 2016, if not the first 2 guaranteed.
We could have a replay of that exact situation.
So, I mean, could it happen? Yeah. Would I like to see it happen? I don't know. I like Lewis a lot, but I wouldn't mind seeing Bottas win a championship either, and it would be cool to say I saw, a Finn win a championship again. I wouldn't be disappointed in it, but
happy Valtteri is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
When he was on pole and qualifying, everyone who's in the interviews, it's just straight faced robot Valtteri. But whenever he's in the cockpit, he's on pole, he's happy, he's cheering.
Wahoo!
Oh yeah, he's the best. My favorite thing I don't know. To whom it may concern, fuck you was pretty amazing too. But when he said the shit to James a couple weeks ago when he won that race,
James
it's Valtteri.
It's Valtteri. Line of the year.
Yeah, I want that on a shirt.
That is a good T-shirt. That's hey, if we end up starting that the Formula One podcast, Phil. You heard it here first on the F1 update.
Of Formula One.
That's our first T-shirt that we're making.
Speaking of podcasts, what are you going to do when Formula One ends?
We'll talk to you off air.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know. My room in depression.
Well, that too. It's only 2 months. That's the good part. That's the other thing about the 2021 rules is they talk about possibly having 25 races, and we basically just watch racing all fucking year.
I know what I'll do. I'll watch Lando Norris' stream. That's what I'll do.
There you go. Or you can, and I know you guys might not be big fans, but Formula E is starting again soon.
That's what I thought you were going to do. I thought I was going to go from the Formula One update to the Formula E update.
Maybe, because Formula One might turn into something bigger, but like I said, we'll talk to you maybe off air. Ferrari.
Scuderia Ferrari.
What the fuck happened this weekend?
What the fuck's been happening on the past several races?
Well, they've been qualifying on pole. They just haven't been able to win.
What's a strategy?
They're pulling Hasses though. They have pace in qualifying, and then they shit the bed.
What's a strategy?
Sorry, that one was good there. You're right. They are pulling a Haas because
seriously.
They've got a fucking same engine.
Speaking of Ferrari, I'm assuming, have you heard Max's comments after the U.S. Grand Prix?
Yes, I did hear what Max had to say, and kind of that's what happens when you stop cheating. Basically, is what Max said.
What? I missed this.
Yeah. I don't know if it was word for word that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you stop cheating.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Yeah, I think they asked him about what do you think about Ferrari this weekend, and then his comments were, "Yeah, that's what happens when you stop cheating."
What do you mean by cheating?
I don't know. Christian
Horner.
Okay. I'm a little familiar with this.
I was gonna. Yeah, you go.
So before the U.S. Grand Prix, there was a technical directive put out, basically stating that the teams cannot. Something to do with the fuel flow, like the fuel flow adjustment,
oil,
or something like that, right? So, what happened was when the team when they ask for clarification on the rules and they ask FIA, if the FIA,
Red Bull, clarify that
specifically Red Bull, yes, but just in any team in general, when they go to FIA ask for clarification on a rule, if the FIA says yes, you can do this, they just tell that team yes, you can do this. If the FIA say no, you can't do this, they send a notice to all teams saying they can't do this. Mm-hmm. So what Red Bull did is they went to the FIA asking for clarification on the fuel flow rate. So the FIA said, no, you can't do this. So they put out a notification to all the teams. And all of a sudden the US Grand Prix comes around, and then Ferrari's pace drops off out of nowhere.
Substantially.
So the Red Bull are pretty damn sure that they feel like that Ferrari's pace in Spa has been because what they think it is that either it's something like they're taking oil out of an intercooler and putting it in the engine, or it's something.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, or it's what you said. It's the fuel flow.
It's adjusting the fuel flow faster than what the fuel flow sensor is reading.
So the sensor says it's lower than what's actually.
The sensor reads like every 1/10 of a second or something like that, but they're adjusting it faster than that.
Wow.
So it's getting more fuel, and then it knows when its sensor reads, and then it drops the fuel. So it looks like it's in normal readings, and it's not.
So it's adjusting the fuel trim, like the air-fuel ratio, or is it adjusting the amount of pressure that's being sent?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
a technical part. That's I'm gonna have to find that
for
out.
sure. That's perfect for you to look into. But it was basically just Red Bull kind of saying like, like if we wanted to try this,
I see what they did. That's smart.
if we were gonna try this, would that be okay?
No.
No, it's. So then they're like, oh, okay, all right, we'll let everybody else know that. So it was kind of one of those situations, but I guess that's what happened to Ferrari this weekend.
I mean,
because
Ferrari said that wasn't the case. Of course, it's not.
of course.
But they said they were wanting to try a different downforce package because they said today on the U.S. Grand Prix they're actually matching Mercedes in the corners because their air downforce has been kind of bad recently.
Yep.
So that's kind of why they sucked on the straights. That's their explanation for it, but.
Who knows? Because their pace that they had on the straightaways for the last 5 weeks or 5 races
been like half a second ahead.
Yeah, and it certainly wasn't there this weekend and was not there in qualifying. But I don't know. DNF for Sebastian, like we talked about, failed suspension. The bumps, though, like the bumps, I think is
hitting that through motion.
Yeah, but I think it was a combination. Personally, like as much as it was turn 9, turn 8, apex into turn 9, it was combination from the whole weekend. I know it didn't happen to every car. Yeah, that's what I mean. It was the whole track, the whole weekend, just constantly doing it. And then, like, constantly creating, suspension wear, I guess would be the way to explain it. And then, cause the DNF, cause the failure. But the rough start for Sebastian, what was up at the beginning there with his tires? Oh. Because he couldn't get them all. I don't know what it was, but he got passed by like 3-4 people right off the beginning. And it was kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Like, that was very...
Maybe their fuel flow was low. No, that was a bad start by him.
Yeah, and then Leclerc managed to get himself up into 4th place. I had it written down here, he was 52 seconds back from Valtteri Bottas. So that tells you right there, after 70 laps or 50, whatever laps it was at this race, Ferrari was a full minute almost behind Mercedes by when this was all said and done. So, yeah, I don't know. Definitely saying something about them going forward. I don't know. We need to reassess them next year. Mm-hmm. I don't like at this point. Like what? I mean, they can try and win one of these last 2 races. Maybe Abu Dhabi they got a chance, but they don't have a shot in hell in my opinion at winning in Brazil. That's just not somewhere. Yeah, I just don't think that that track it doesn't have
Cataluña's in Spain. Interlagos is Brazil.
Yeah,
fuck,
right.
my bad.
No, it's okay. I didn't catch it. He caught you. I think I was going along with it for a second there, but you're right. It's Interlagos. I would have liked to see Lewis win the championship there, kind of throwback to 2008. And
is that Gluck?
Yeah, is it Gluck?
Is that Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg, man. Cry. I'm going to cry a little bit for Hulkenberg.
The one time Hulkenberg was on pole was, I think, 2010 in Brazil.
Yep.
And he was fighting for the podium and Force India back in 2012 or something. And he crashes into Lewis in the wet race.
Oh.
Still has yet to get a single podium.
And I think that's going to be it for him, too.
Probably.
I think with the announcement, I mean, we'll move forward here, too. I guess it's kind of Ferrari announcement, but with the announcement of Antonio Giovinazzi. Yep. Sorry, I'm Italian. I can do that. With him being re-signed to Alfa Romeo, I don't think there's a seat left for Hulkenberg now at this point. So I don't know. I was happy because he's Italian, but other than that, I don't know. Somebody made a comment on, I don't know what show I was listening to, but it would probably be better. It would make much more sense to put Hulkenberg at that team, because then when Kimi retires in a year, then you now have somebody who's already experienced rather than somebody like Giovinazzi who's only been in Formula 1 for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It would make more sense. I also heard that Hulkenberg says he's not going to Formula E and he's not going to IndyCar, which, okay, where the...
floating in limbo.
I guess WEC, I mean, he has the one Le Mans win.
I was hearing rumors about DTM. Yeah. And even Jenson Button potentially going to DTM, but I don't know how true any of that is. I guess if Hulkenberg is like, you know what, fuck it, I'd rather live in Germany and spend most of my days in Germany, then DTM's probably...
I mean, if he went to Super GT, I'd be okay with that.
So, yeah.
Japanese DTM.
Oh, that's what
Jenson
Button won the championship last year.
Yeah.
In the Acura, by the way. Mm-hmm. I forget, was his teammate was the guy who sat in for the Toro Rosso? Was it not?
I don't know, Ronnie.
Oh,
I don't know.
No, the Japanese driver.
The Japanese driver that sat in for the Toro Rosso seat in FP1 in Suzuka. I can't remember his name at this moment.
It's too hard of a name.
Yeah, it was a Japanese name. Anyway.
It's Honda's big new upshot driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
He races Super Formula as well. I'm pretty
exactly. Yeah. So I think he's a former Super Formula world champion. But yeah, I don't know. I forget where we were. We should probably just move on towards Red Bull at this point. Max Verstappen P3, 5 seconds behind Lewis. Maybe P2. I don't know. I think he could have gotten P2 if that I think it was a double wave yellow at the very end of the race there with the, who was it that went off? I can't remember at the moment. Somebody had went off. Somebody, yeah, it's okay. Somebody had went off at the very
end. It was like Grosjean or Hulkenberg.
I honestly think it may have been Grosjean, not just to say it was Grosjean because we'd assume it was Grosjean, but I think it was Grosjean. Either way, those double waved yellows at the very end of the lap kind of made it so Max didn't really have a chance to get by Lewis. Who's to say he would have? I don't know, but I just mean he was approaching him and he only finished 5 seconds back. So.
That sector was where the double yellow flags was every time he was on Lewis there.
Yeah.
He could have made a dive at any moment in time to make that pass, but double yellow flag, rip.
Yeah. How about Alex Albon?
He's a driver of my day, bro.
Driver of the friggin' day.
For sure.
I said driver of the weekend for Valtteri, but if I have to pick a driver of the Sunday, it's going to be Alex Albon. I think he got through the whole field like twice. Mm-hmm. Pitted on a longer, or took more pit stops than most because of what happened at the beginning of the race, and then managed to fight his way all the way back up to 5th place. Insane. How is this guy not confirmed for next year?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. But I guess they just want to see what he can do.
Yeah.
Possibly, but
I mean, I think at this point, I don't see Kvyat going back. It feels like he's reverted into the Toro Rosso at this point, or Torpedo, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he's had ups and downs. I mean, he podiumed this year. He's the only driver outside of Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari to get a podium, so it's not a bad thing on the season. I know he kind of lucked into it a little bit, but still.
Gasly won't come back either. He's way too comfortable in the Toro Rosso. You could see how much more confident he is in that car.
It's crazy to think that he has the same pace in the Toro Rosso than he did in the Red Bull.
Well, yeah, that's
that right there. That should tell you that confidence being in a car.
Fuck. That's crazy. I have a feeling though, and maybe most don't agree with this, I have a feeling that Gasly's going to be like a Hulkenberg. And I don't mean that in the sense that he's never going to get a podium. I just mean I think he'll be that guy that sticks around for a lot longer than you expect.
Yeah.
And also never really gets a drive with one of those top teams, but does a good enough job with those lower, obviously. I don't know about the podium thing, but I think he'll be in that kind of role.
I know what you mean. He's going to turn into like a Mark Webber kind of thing.
Yeah. Something like that's a great. I was going to say Felipe Massa, but I feel like Felipe Massa won more races probably than, Gasly might win in his career. I don't know.
Never know, though. You really never know.
Yeah, that's...
Could be the next Lewis Hamilton. 6 world championships, Pierre Gasly.
Okay, whoa. You're getting ahead of yourself there.
I kind of skipped over it a little bit, but we talked about it at the beginning or kind of halfway out at this point. The tires and stuff for Max, he had a bit of damage on his floor at the beginning of the race, no?
I thought that was Albon that had damage on his floor.
Was it? Did I get them mixed up in my notes here?
Because Verstappen went through on turn 1 fine. It was Albon, Sainz, someone else on turn 1 when Sainz turned in. Albon was still kind of turning out, and the back wheel jumped over.
Right. You're right. So I don't know. Either way, good day from Red Bull. P3, P5, only being 5. Like Max was 5 seconds back from Valtteri, and Albon was only 78 seconds back. But that was because obviously of everything that had happened in his race. Do you think? Last question about the top 3 teams. Do you think Gasly could have done that in a Red Bull?
No.
We just talked about it, but do you...
No.
Simple and straight. No.
Only other one I want to mention, I mean, Sergio Perez had another good day, but I just want to bring up again, McLaren, 7 and 8. What a turnaround from the last 3 years.
I mean, I saw a graph. Someone showed the pace between, I think it was the difference between last year and this year. The car's pace? No, just the team's pace, or like the what was it? It was like from 2016 or 2017 or something like that. One of the years.
Okay.
The pace increase that the teams have gotten from over time.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, it was Williams. It's actually like a tenth faster or slower or something that. So they haven't increased. But McLaren at Coda was like 2.2 seconds faster.
Oh, yeah.
That they used to be.
They've probably progressed more from like the end of last season to now than almost any other team has progressed in the last 3 years. And I just mean for how much better they got. Like, people forget that I don't have the picture up on the wall in here anymore, but that 2017 McLaren Honda car was really not good. Like, they finished with like 30 points at the end of the year.
That was a very dark time. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was. Trust me, man. I was
GP2 engine.
No, that was the year before. But either way, same era. And I mean, that I think was the worst year, was that 17, because they were going through regulation changes. Not only were they having enough trouble building a 2015 and 16 F1 car with a Honda engine in it, but now they're like, oh, hey, we're going to change the cars around on you too now. They're getting super wide and way bigger and faster, so good luck. And that went nowhere. But I don't know. They're doing really well. I think they will be the team, I hope, in 2021.
Mm-hmm. I want to see them back up there on the podium.
Yeah, if we don't get a shakeup and we still get a lot of what we get now, I hope we at least get McLaren in that top 3 or top 4. Sorry,
what was it? Their last podium was like in 2014 in Australia it was like
Jenson Button
and Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, I think I don't know where it was, but I know their last podium was Jenson, which is a while.
It was
ago.
Australia, the first race in 2014. I'm pretty sure, but they got both McLarens on the podium. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't 14 because that was the hybrid. I don't think McLaren's done well with the hybrid.
Oh, that might be 13. Then.
Okay, yeah, that would be. I just know 14 was the start of the hybrid, and I don't associate the hybrid engine and McLaren.
It's crazy to think that Kevin Magnussen started with McLaren.
He's been all over.
He has been.
At one point, he was the only driver to have driven every engine.
Yeah.
Because he drove the Mercedes. I guess they had a Mercedes at that point because it was before they signed Fernando. And then he jumped over to... Where did he go? He was at Renault. He was driving a Renault engine for a little while. And then now he's with Haas, which is a Ferrari engine. So it's like he was literally driving every engine. And I guess aside from Honda. But he might have even drove a bit of Honda too.
It's just crazy to think that McLaren has all these young drivers that they bring up too. It's like they had Magnussen. They had Van Dorn. Remember him?
Oh, it's Formula E, buddy. Mercedes,
yeah.
AMG. Sorry. You guys look at me like, and?
It's just crazy to think they've
Is
had
he
all
going to
these...
go faster than 20 kilowatts?
So they use a battery from Mercedes? Is that how it works?
I'm cheering for them now. They got a Formula E team, so I'm going to start.
Are they going to put Ocon in the Formula E team?
No. He's racing for Renault for 2 years. He's racing for Renault, and when he shows Renault how good he is, then Mercedes is going to be like, okay, sorry.
We'll put him on the Formula E team.
Sorry.
Sorry, Bottas? Is that what you're going to say?
No, I was going to say sorry, George Russell.
Oh.
We're getting Ocon now. But I don't know. We'll see.
Ocon, no.
Okay. You got to show me that. Oh, man. Side topic. But yeah, I guess that was pretty much it, unless there's anything else. I hear the final standings for the final, I guess I can keep going forward for the rest of the year for second, third, and fourth. But Lewis Hamilton, 381 points, wins the championship, clinches first place in the Drivers' Championship, with Bottas getting 314 and Leclerc at 249. I did hear one stat, not necessarily a stat, but it was, I think, Andrew Benson, one of the guys who does the BBC commentary with Julian Palmer and those guys. He was kind of crunching the numbers and going through different stats for Leclerc and where Ferrari could have finished throughout this season. And without some of the odd DNFs and stuff that they had, like, Leclerc could have been leading this championship. And it's just crazy to think that that's kind of the way that this season went. And honestly, like, it's the way that the last three, maybe not so much 2018, but definitely 2017 and this year have went in the sense that it was actually a battle all year. You just don't think about it when you look back at it. You think, Mercedes. Mm-hmm. But it's like 2017, Vettel was leading the championship going into summer break. Like, it's not like it was...
I guess 2013 is kind of... Or 2003 was similar. Because it was actually pretty up in the air. There was a bunch of different winners in 2003, but when you think about it, it was just another one of Michael's 7 world championships.
And perfect. I'm happy you brought that up because it just made me think of another one. And it's Sebastian Vettel in 2012. 12. When Alonso could still win the championship, he was dragging that Ferrari across the finish line. I think I've talked about it before. There's a cartoon picture of Alonso
carrying Ferrari
a dead horse. Like, it's a cartoon picture of him pulling a dead horse across the finish line because that car, apparently, I didn't watch the season in 2012.
But it was the preseason testing. It was terrible.
That car had no rights to be winning any races, and he made it win races somehow. So that was a good year. And then I think, was it Lewis that was competing too that year? It was a 3-team kind of battle. I don't know. It might not have been Lewis because I know he had a couple rough years there before.
I think he
Mercedes.
was for a bit, but I think he kind of fell out in 2012. I think he was still in McLaren in 2012.
He was. That was the year.
The Vodafones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he switched over in 14.
Was it 14 or 13?
13
yeah.
because it was the year before the
last,
hybrid.
The last of the V8.
And I know there was a year that he raced, like Lewis raced at Mercedes AMG, where Lewis didn't win the championship and neither did Nico.
Mm-hmm.
It was Sebastian. But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if you guys want to get into anything else from Formula One. I mean, I'm going to do kind of another preview for Brazil next week on the show. And then after Brazil, if you're free, I've already kind of punched in Phil's name into the slot. But if you're free, I'd love for you to come back and we can do these kind of to close out the rest of the Formula One season. We'll do them on the weeks after the races, so Brazil and Abu Dhabi. But yeah, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Alrighty. That's it, episode 60. Don't forget to wrap it up.
60 or 61?
61. There you go. You're
go.
keeping me strong. 60 was the Halloween special.
Did you even say it at the beginning?
I think I did say
You
it
did,
today.
you did.
Yeah,
Okay,
today.
okay.
That's how I know.
There you go. You see, these guys keep me straight. This is how I keep the show going. I would not be able to do it by myself, clearly. But we thank you for checking out episode 61 of the Roundtable. I myself, Nick, was sitting in here with the Thrill and Will and Phil.
Oh my God.
Still can't get it right.
If you guys don't already, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack. Send us comments, DMs, anything. If you want to get in contact with us, check us out on there. Send us an email, prowrestlinglookback@gmail.com. Head over to iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, and Google Play. Check out the show on there. Every episode's available on YouTube, and almost everything's available on all the other platforms. Just the stuff from prior to us jumping on those platforms. Subscribe, hit the 5 stars, leave a comment. Like I say, always a good one. I'd prefer that. That would be better. Follow me on Instagram at Salsa or Twitter, same one, at Salsa, SCELSA. And Donovan is at The Don Hour and PW at PW Lookback.
At Lateral GLATERELG.
And on Twitter, Honda Tech Phil.
There you go, Honda Tech Phil. I
Nice
like
and
that.
simple.
I'm going to start using that in the description for Instagram, so
Fuck yeah.
look out for that. And like I said, the main one at PW Lookback. And like I was talking about at the beginning of the show, guys, don't forget, check out the sponsor, Pure Oxide Premium CBD Oils. It's amazing CBD oil. Their website ships worldwide. Get in contact with the owner on Instagram at Justin.Brothers. Joint pain, anxiety, overall well-being. Hundreds of positive reviews. The stuff works amazing. This is the Roundtable, episode 61. I'm Nick.
I'm Will.
And I'm Honda Tech Phil.
Stay classy.